The sun had barely risen over the glittering waters of Puerto Rico when chaos broke loose. Eyewitnesses claimed they saw none other than Love and Hip Hop's Kirk Frost being escorted by local police outside a luxury resort, his hands visibly trembling as officers surrounded him. Within minutes, phones were out, cameras were rolling, and social media exploded. Hashtags like hashtag Kirk Frost arrested and hashtag Puerto Rico drama flooded timelines, leaving fans in absolute disbelief. What could have possibly happened this time? Was this another business deal gone wrong? Or was there something darker, something personal that pushed Kirk to the edge? Reports were conflicting. Some said it started with a heated argument by the pool. Others claimed Jasmine Washington was involved, seen shouting moments before security was called. The tension was thick enough to slice through. Guests whispered that Kirk had been acting off all morning, pacing, making frantic phone calls, and muttering about people setting him up. When officers finally arrived, he didn't resist. But his expression told a story deeper than words. Anger, fear, and exhaustion all tangled into one. Meanwhile, across the island, Jasmine broke her silence in an emotional Instagram live that sent shockwaves through the fanbase. "I tried to stay quiet," she said tearfully, "but I can't keep protecting people who keep lying." Her voice cracked as she hinted that the arrest wasn't random at all but the result of secrets finally catching up. The comments poured in like wildfire. What did Kirk do? Is Jasmine talking about that night? Where's Rashida? Fans were desperate for answers. By noon, the story had grown beyond control. TMZ-style bloggers were spinning every possible theory: an unpaid resort bill, an altercation, even rumors of fraud linked to his business ventures. And in the middle of it all was Jasmine, the one woman Kirk had spent years trying to distance himself from, now reclaiming her place in the spotlight. Sources close to her claimed she'd been keeping receipt messages, photos, and documents that could destroy everything. And if what she hinted was true, Kirk's arrest was only the beginning. As police cars pulled away and cameras followed, Rashida was nowhere to be seen. Friends say she'd left the resort earlier that morning, after a private argument that didn't sound like a normal couple fight. The energy was off, the tension was real, and by the time word reached Atlanta, the Frost family's reputation was hanging by a thread. What really happened in Puerto Rico? Was Kirk framed or finally exposed? Stay tuned, because this story is about to get even messier. The cameras kept flashing even after Kirk Frost was taken away, and the air around the Puerto Rico resort buzzed with confusion, gossip, and disbelief. People were whispering, phones ringing nonstop, and staff moving nervously like they had just witnessed something too big to ignore. Kirk had always been the calm, collected businessman who kept his image polished, but today, that image cracked wide open. One of the resort employees, speaking on condition of anonymity, said Kirk had been arguing with someone over the phone just hours before the incident. He kept saying, "Don't play with me, Jasmine." "Not again," she recalled, her voice trembling slightly. That was enough to send fans into overdrive once the clip leaked online. Rumors spread faster than truth ever could. People were saying Jasmine Washington had flown to Puerto Rico days earlier, supposedly for a private meeting. No one knew what that meant, but given their history, it didn't take long for people to draw their own conclusions. Kirk and Jasmine's past had already caused cracks in his marriage with Rashida. And even though they had claimed to move past it, everyone knew the tension was still there. Insiders claimed Jasmine had reached out to Kirk about unfinished business. And whatever that business was, it wasn't just emotional, it was legal. Something about old financial documents, shared accounts, and money that had gone missing years ago. By midday, videos surfaced showing Kirk pacing near the pool area, wearing a white t-shirt and shorts, clearly agitated. His voice could be faintly heard saying, "This ain't about no money, this is a setup." Moments later, security appeared, trying to calm him down as guests stared. Someone shouted Jasmine's name from a balcony, and Kirk looked up sharply, shouting something that was drowned out by the commotion. That's when police arrived, and within minutes, everything spiraled. What happened next was captured by at least 3 different phones, Kirk being spoken to by 2 officers. His hands raised, trying to explain something before one officer lightly touched his shoulder, guiding him away. It wasn't violent, but it was tense. And the silence that followed felt heavier than the arrest itself. Back in Atlanta, Rashida reportedly got the call just before she was set to open her boutique for the day. Sources close to her said she froze for nearly a minute, then whispered, "Not again." She immediately booked a flight to Puerto Rico, ignoring calls from friends and producers. One insider said she told her assistant, "If Jasmine's behind this, I swear it's war." But no one really knew what Jasmine's role was yet. What was clear was that she was enjoying the attention. Within hours of Kirk's arrest, Jasmine went live on Instagram again, this time looking calmer but colder. "Everybody always want to paint me as the problem," she said, eyes locked on the camera. But when truth starts coming out, suddenly everybody wants to play victim. Her words hit like a match in a gasoline-filled room. Fans started dissecting every syllable, every expression. Was she hinting that Kirk did something criminal? Or was she talking about personal betrayal? Comments exploded beneath her live feed, some supporting her, others calling her manipulative. But Jasmine wasn't done. She reached for her phone, scrolled through her gallery, and flashed a screenshot, blurred, but unmistakably, showing a name that looked like Kirk's in a message thread. "Y'all really want me to tell it all?" she asked, smirking. "'Cause I can." And then she ended the live abruptly, leaving everyone hanging. As night fell in Puerto Rico, the resort staff tried to return to normal, but whispers lingered everywhere. One guest, a blogger named Tanya, claimed she overheard Kirk's manager shouting at someone on the phone, saying, "You think you can blackmail him and walk away?" That single sentence set off a wildfire of speculation. Was Jasmine trying to blackmail Kirk? Did he finally lose control after years of pressure? Or was there a deeper story that none of them had the full picture of? Meanwhile, a few local news outlets began picking up the story. Kirk Frost, Atlanta, entrepreneur and reality TV star, detained in Puerto Rico, reasons undisclosed. Authorities silent. But that didn't stop the internet from inventing reasons of its own. One theory suggested Kirk was under investigation for tax evasion tied to his business trips. Another claimed it was a domestic dispute. But the most popular theory, the one that had Twitter melting down, was that Jasmine had tipped off the authorities herself. Back in her rented villa, Jasmine reportedly told a close friend, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." She looked shaken, pacing around the room, glancing at her phone every few seconds. The friend, who later spoke anonymously to an entertainment blog, said Jasmine kept repeating that Kirk wasn't supposed to get arrested, only exposed. She wanted the truth out, but not like this. And when the friend asked what truth she meant, Jasmine only said, "You'll see. They all will." By midnight, Rashida's flight had landed. Paparazzi caught her walking briskly through the San Juan airport, sunglasses on, expression unreadable. One photographer shouted, "Rashida, is Kirk okay?" But she didn't respond. She got into a black SUV and disappeared into the night. Hours later, witnesses said they saw her entering the police station where Kirk was being held. Someone inside claimed they heard yelling, Rashida's voice rising, then softening, then rising again. Emotions ran high. Fans online speculated that she was demanding answers, not just from the officers but from Kirk himself. Outside the station, the crowd of reporters grew. Flashlights, questions, chaos. By the time Kirk emerged, it was close to dawn. His face looked tired, his eyes swollen. He didn't speak to anyone. Rashida followed behind him, holding her phone tightly, whispering something to him that no one could hear. But one thing was clear: whatever happened that night had changed everything. The once power couple of Atlanta reality TV was now the center of a storm they couldn't control. And somewhere across town, Jasmine was watching the whole thing unfold on her screen. Biting her lip as the live news coverage played, she whispered to herself, almost regretfully, "You shouldn't have lied to me, Kirk." But by then, it was far too late. The next morning, the island was still buzzing. Local news anchors spoke in quick Spanish about the American celebrity, detained overnight, while bloggers from Atlanta had already arrived, desperate to capture any new detail. Kirk and Rashida were spotted leaving the police station, faces tense, lips sealed. Fans were desperate for answers, but Kirk's silence only made things worse. He wore a gray hoodie, his eyes hidden behind sunglasses, and when a reporter asked, "Were you framed?" he simply said, "No comment." Rashida, walking beside him, looked furious but composed, gripping her phone like it might break if she squeezed any tighter. What few people knew was that Kirk had spent the night giving a statement, trying to explain a series of transactions tied to a Puerto Rico-based studio investment that had suddenly gone under investigation. The police had received an anonymous tip, claiming Kirk had moved money through accounts connected to an associate named Jasmine. Authorities wouldn't confirm details, but it didn't take long for fans to put two and two together. Jasmine Washington, the woman who had once accused Kirk of fathering her child, was suddenly at the center of another storm. At her villa that same morning, Jasmine sat on the balcony, scrolling through her phone as messages poured in. You did this. One said, you're evil, another read. But some defended her. Stand in your truth, they commented. Jasmine sighed, her eyes red. She started another live video, her voice softer than before. I didn't call the cops, she said, shaking her head, but I told the truth, and sometimes the truth comes with consequences. She paused, looking straight into the camera. He made promises to me about the business, about the money, about my son, and he broke every one of them. I'm done being quiet. Within minutes, her live hit 100,000 views. The internet lit up again. What promises? Did Kirk scam her? Where's Rashida? Hashtags erupted. Hashtag Jasmine speaks and hashtag Kirk lies exposed. The tension reached a boiling point when Jasmine hinted she had proof audio recordings, emails, and signed documents. If I have to, I'll post everything, she said, eyes glinting. He's not the only one who knows how to play this game. Then she smiled faintly and ended the live. In the hotel room across town, Kirk slammed his phone down. She's lying, he snapped. Rashida, sitting on the bed, crossed her arms. Then prove it. Her voice was calm but cold. Kirk ran a hand over his head, pacing. She's just mad because I didn't pay her the way she wanted. That's all this is. Rashida's eyes narrowed. So there was money? Kirk stopped. Silence filled the room for several seconds before he finally muttered, it was business, rash. Nothing more. She stood up slowly, disbelief washing over her face. Business that got you arrested. The argument grew louder. Witnesses later said they could hear muffled shouting through the walls. You said it was over with her, Rashida shouted. You said you were done. Kirk's voice cracked as he replied, I am done. She's trying to ruin me. Rashida turned away, tears filling her eyes. You ruined yourself, Kirk. She grabbed her purse and walked out, leaving him standing there, frozen. An hour later, paparazzi caught her leaving the hotel. Her expression She didn't say a word, but the tension in her face said enough. Back upstairs, Kirk received a call from his lawyer, who warned him that Jasmine's claims could escalate. If she has documents, we need to get ahead of it, the lawyer said. Deny nothing, but don't confirm anything either. Kirk rubbed his temples. Man, I'm tired of this. The lawyer replied bluntly. Then you should have stayed away from her. As the day unfolded, a new twist emerged. A leaked email began circulating online, allegedly from Kirk's management team to Jasmine, discussing a payment arrangement from 2 years earlier. The email mentioned compensation for privacy and discretion. Fans went wild. So he did pay her to stay quiet. One tweet read. Another said, this is deeper than baby mama drama. By evening, gossip sites were calling it the Frost payoff scandal. Back in Atlanta, Kirk's friends were getting dragged into the mess. Scrappy was reportedly furious after fans flooded his Instagram comments, tagging him in posts about Kirk. I ain't got nothin' to do with that man's business, he wrote in his stories. Keep me out of it. But privately, sources said Scrappy had called Kirk earlier, telling him, you need to fix this before it gets ugly. The blogs ain't letting this go. Rashida, meanwhile, checked into a separate hotel across town. She refused interviews but posted one cryptic Instagram story, a black background with the words, the truth always burns before it cleans. Within an hour, blogs were dissecting it, debating whether it was aimed at Kirk or Jasmine. Fans commented, she's done, she's heartbroken. She knew this would happen. While the world speculated, Jasmine was making a new move. She reached out to a reporter from a popular entertainment site, offering an exclusive interview. The meeting took place that night in a dimly lit cafe. Jasmine wore sunglasses, her voice calm but deliberate. Kirk lied to everyone, she said quietly. He told me we were partners, not just in business but in life. Then when things went bad, he cut me off like I was nothing. When asked if she tipped off the authorities, she shook her head. I didn't have to. His own actions caught up with him. The reporter leaned forward. So why now? Why speak out? Jasmine looked down, tapping her fingers on the table. Because he keeps pretending. He makes me look crazy while he hides behind his wife and his brand. I'm done protecting people who never protected me. Her voice trembled slightly, and for a brief moment, the confidence slipped away, replaced by raw exhaustion. By midnight, the interview teaser was up, and the internet lost its mind again. Kirk Frost trending at number 1. Jasmine trending at number 2. Rashida trending at number 3. 3 lives entangled in a storm of betrayal, money, and heartbreak. The only thing no one could agree on was who was telling the truth. But one thing was certain, this was far from over. Across the ocean waves outside the resort, lightning flashed faintly in the distance, as if the island itself sensed that more chaos was coming. And somewhere deep inside his suite, Kirk sat alone, staring at his phone, watching Jasmine's interview on loop. His hands clenched, his jaw tightened, and under his breath, he muttered, "You don't know what you just started." The next morning, the air felt heavier, almost electric with tension. Kirk Frost was nowhere to be seen, but paparazzi swarmed the hotel, camping outside every possible exit. Everyone wanted a statement. Reporters shouted his name whenever someone in a hoodie walked by, desperate for footage. Inside his suite, Kirk sat on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, scrolling through an endless stream of notifications, clips, edited videos of Jasmine's interview with dramatic background music. Every comment hit like a punch. He played her. One said, "He deserves jail," said another. Even people he'd known for years were staying quiet. Loyalty, it seemed, had vanished overnight. Across the island, Jasmine was giving another interview, this time on camera. She looked more confident now, wearing a soft blue dress, hair sleek, tone measured. "This isn't about revenge," she said calmly. "It's about truth." Kirk knows what he did. When the host asked if she still had feelings for him, she hesitated just a moment too long. "Feelings don't disappear overnight," she admitted. "But love doesn't mean silence. And I won't be silenced anymore." Fans exploded. Comments flooded in. "She's still in love. She's manipulating the narrative. Rashida's watching this right now crying." Social media was a battlefield. Meanwhile, Rashida was trying to keep her composure. She had returned to the hotel but stayed in a different wing, refusing to share space with Kirk. Her assistant said she barely spoke all morning, just stared at her phone, rewatching Jasmine's clips. When Kirk finally knocked on her door around noon, she didn't answer. He knocked again, calling softly, "Rash, open the door, please." After a pause, she opened it halfway, her face cold. "You said everything was done with her," she said quietly. "And now the whole world's watching her talk about you like you're still hers." Kirk sighed. "She's lying, trying to get attention." Rashida raised an eyebrow. "Then why does she have your name on those documents?" Kirk froze. "What documents?" he asked. Rashida crossed her arms. "Don't play dumb. She said you two signed something." "What was it?" Kirk ran a hand down his face. "It wasn't what it sounded like. She was part of an investment project, and Rashida interrupted sharply. "An investment project or hush money?" Her voice trembled now, caught between anger and heartbreak. "Because everyone online thinks you paid her to stay quiet." Kirk's silence was the answer she didn't want. She stepped back, shaking her head slowly. "You put everything we built on the line for her." The tension broke into a full argument. Kirk tried to explain, saying Jasmine had threatened to leak private messages years ago unless she was compensated for damaged reputation. He had agreed to settle privately, believing it would make the problem disappear. But now it was all coming back. "You can't fix lies with more lies, Kirk," Rashida said, tears welling up. "You don't get to bury the past and call it business." Kirk's voice cracked. "I was trying to protect you." She shot back. "You were trying to protect yourself." Outside, the shouting drew attention. A few guests recorded muffled snippets through the door, posting captions like "Rashida confronting Kirk Frost in Puerto Rico hotel, things getting heated." By afternoon, clips had already gone viral. Fans analyzed their voices, breaking down every syllable. One comment read, "You can hear the pain in her voice." Another said, "This marriage is done." As all this played out, Jasmine was already one step ahead. She posted a cryptic tweet, "Truth doesn't need defending." Within minutes, gossip pages picked it up. One reporter even claimed she was in contact with law enforcement about providing evidence tied to the ongoing investigation. That single word, evidence, sent shockwaves through the internet. What evidence? Texts, recordings, contracts. Everyone wanted to know. Back in Kirk's suite, his phone rang again. It was his lawyer. "Kirk, we've got a problem," the lawyer said. "Someone leaked a copy of that old settlement agreement. The signatures there, your initials, the dates. And the media's already running it." Kirk's face went pale. "They can't use that. That was confidential." The lawyer sighed. "It doesn't matter. Public opinion's already decided." Kirk stood up, pacing. "I need to talk to her," he said. "You mean Jasmine?" The lawyer replied. "Absolutely not. Any contact now makes it worse." Kirk hung up anyway. He left the hotel quietly, slipping past reporters with his hood up. Jasmine was staying just 10 minutes away. When she opened her villa door and saw him standing there, she froze. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. Kirk stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "What are you doing, Jasmine?" he demanded. She folded her arms. "Telling the truth." "You call this truth?" he snapped. You're destroying everything for what? Likes? Interviews? Jasmine's voice rose. For respect. Because you lied about me, Kirk. You made me look crazy while you kept living your perfect life. The argument built like a storm. Kirk slammed his hand on the counter. You think I wanted this? I gave you money to start over, to move on. Jasmine's eyes filled with tears. You gave me hush money to disappear. She took a step closer. And now that I finally speak up, you want to act like the victim. Kirk's tone softened for the first time. You know I cared about you. But this isn't the way. Jasmine shook her head. The way was gone the minute you chose her over everything else. For a long moment, they just stared at each other, two people who'd destroyed each other without meaning to. Kirk finally whispered, please don't make this worse. Jasmine's voice broke. It's already worse. Unbeknownst to them, a photographer hiding nearby snapped pictures through the open window. Kirk and Jasmine standing inches apart. Faces intense, emotions raw. By evening, the images were everywhere. Headlines screamed, Kirk Frost confronts Jasmine in secret Puerto Rico meeting. The photos looked intimate, almost romantic, and fans went wild. He's back with her. Rashida's done for. This man can't stay loyal for 5 minutes. When Rashida saw the photos, she didn't speak. She simply put her phone down, packed her bag, and told her assistant, book me the first flight home. As she left the hotel, a reporter shouted, Rashida, are you leaving Kirk? She didn't look back. She just kept walking. And somewhere across the island, Jasmine sat alone after Kirk left, watching the rain fall against the window. She whispered to herself, you made me do this. Her phone buzzed again, a message from an unknown number. It read, you think you've won, but you don't know what's coming next. She stared at the screen, her heart pounding. The game wasn't over. It was only shifting. And as night fell over Puerto Rico, one thing was clear: whatever had started between them years ago was now spiraling into something far more dangerous than love, money, or fame. The night after those photos hit the internet, Puerto Rico felt like the center of a storm that wouldn't pass. The streets outside the resort glowed with flashing lights. Reporters lining up at every entrance, their voices echoing through the humid air. Inside, Kirk Frost was losing control. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing, calls from his lawyer, his manager, the show's producers, all demanding answers. How did those pictures get out? His manager shouted over speakerphone. Kirk's voice was low, tired. I don't know, man. I didn't call the press. I went there to stop her. The manager exhaled sharply. Well, congratulations. Now it looks like you're cheating again while your wife's on a plane home. You just made it 10 times worse. Kirk rubbed his temples, staring at his reflection in the mirror. I swear, I'm done explaining myself to everybody. I'm done. But it wasn't that simple. The next morning, gossip blogs had built full narratives around those photos, fake eyewitness accounts, exaggerated quotes, even anonymous insiders claiming Kirk and Jasmine were secretly rekindling their romance. Headlines screamed Kirk Frost's secret affair reignited, and Jasmine exposes more lies. A few even claimed Jasmine was pregnant again, though she never said such a thing. But the lie spread faster than anyone could stop it. At that same hour, Jasmine sat on her villa's balcony, scrolling through her feed. Every post had her face on it, every comment either defending or destroying her. She whispered to herself, this is getting out of hand. Her friend Kiana, who had been staying with her, tried to calm her down. Girl, they've always talked. This ain't new. Jasmine shook her head. It's different this time. I didn't want this mess. Kiana looked at her carefully. Then why keep feeding it? Jasmine didn't answer. She stared out at the ocean instead, her thoughts heavy. Because silence made me the villain before. Maybe this time, it'll make him one. Back in Atlanta, Rashida landed quietly, avoiding cameras, her phone switched off. She didn't even go home first. She went straight to her store, unlocked the door, and sat behind the counter, staring at the wall. Her best friend Tony showed up minutes later. You good? She asked softly. Rashida gave a dry laugh. Does it look like I'm good? She slid her phone across the table, showing the photos of Kirk and Jasmine. That man just keeps finding new ways to embarrass me. Tony frowned. You don't know the whole story yet. Rashida looked up sharply. I know enough. She leaned back in her chair. It's always something with him. Every time I think we're past it, he drags us back. Meanwhile, the producers of Love and Hip Hop were thrilled. Drama like this meant ratings, and they weren't about to let it slip away. One of them called Kirk directly. Listen, we need a statement on camera. Tell your side before Jasmine controls the whole story. Kirk snapped. You think this is a storyline to me? I got real police reports and legal problems right now. The producer's tone was cold. Then make it work for you. The network's watching. Don't waste the moment. Kirk hung up, disgusted, but the idea stuck in his mind. Maybe he could flip the narrative, clear his name before Jasmine destroyed it completely. That night, Kirk recorded a short video. He sat in a dimly lit room, looking directly into the camera. I ain't perfect, he said quietly. Everybody knows I made mistakes before. But this right here, this is not what it looks like. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't cheat. I went to talk, to end it for good. The truth will come out soon. He ended the video without smiling. It went viral within minutes, pulling millions of views and a flood of comments. Some believed him, others mocked him. Same speech, different year. One wrote, "This man never learns." Another said, "Jasmine saw it too." Her jaw tightened. She immediately went live again, voice trembling with anger. He said he went to talk. Please. That man only talks when he's cornered. She held up her phone, scrolling through screenshots. He was texting me the night before his arrest, talking about let's fix things quietly. Now he wants to act like I'm the problem. She scrolled faster, showing blurred messages but enough to confirm they existed. Stop lying, Kirk. You're scared, and it shows. Fans flooded the comments. She's got receipts. This is wild. Rashida. Sis. Run. Within hours, the internet was split down the middle, half defending Kirk, half siding with Jasmine. Everyone was picking a team, and nobody was staying neutral. As the chaos grew, Kirk's lawyer called again. The police want to question you again tomorrow, he said flatly. Apparently Jasmine submitted some new evidence. Kirk's chest tightened. She what? The lawyer replied. She gave them your old emails, the ones you deleted. Kirk's mind raced. He hadn't used that email in years. How did she still have them? The lawyer added, they're investigating whether you tried to cover up those payments. Kirk's voice shook now. This is insane. Those were settlements, not crimes. The lawyer's tone was dry. Tell that to the internet, because right now, the court of public opinion has already convicted you. The next morning, cameras followed Kirk to the police station again. Rashida didn't show. Jasmine stayed quiet for once, but her silence made it worse. Everyone assumed she was preparing her next move. Reporters yelled questions as Kirk walked past them, but he didn't respond. He kept his head down, jaw tight, fists clenched. Fans recorded every second, narrating their own versions. He looks guilty. He looks tired. He looks done. Inside, Kirk gave his statement. When he came out hours later, the look on his face said it all. Something serious was happening behind closed doors. One journalist shouted, "Are you being charged, Kirk?" He didn't answer. He got in the car, slammed the door, and stared out the window as they drove away. By evening, the internet had exploded again. A leaked police document surfaced online, showing Kirk's name under subject of financial inquiry. It didn't say what the inquiry was about, but that didn't matter. People filled in the blanks themselves. Memes, edits, even mock breaking news reports flooded social media. Fans joked, cried, argued, and speculated endlessly. Back at her villa, Jasmine finally broke down. She sat on the floor, phone in her lap, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't want this," she whispered. "I just wanted the truth out." Her friend Kiana knelt beside her. "You opened a door you can't close now." Jasmine nodded weakly. "Yeah, and now everyone's walking through it." Across the ocean, Rashida stood in her living room, scrolling through the madness online. She looked at Kirk's old wedding photo on the wall, then, at her reflection in the window. "I used to believe love could survive anything," she said softly, "but maybe not lies." She turned off her phone and walked away, leaving the house in silence. And in Puerto Rico, lightning cracked again across the dark horizon, echoing over the water, as if even the sky knew that the storm between Kirk, Jasmine, and Rashida was only getting stronger and far from over. Kirk's face was pale as the Puerto Rican officers escorted him through the flashing cameras. The air buzzed with reporters screaming his name, microphones thrust forward like weapons. Rashida's voice echoed behind him, trembling. "Kirk, what have you done?" The officers didn't answer her questions, and Kirk didn't turn back. It was as if he had accepted something inevitable. By the time they reached the police car, Jasmine had already gone live on Instagram, tears streaming down her face, saying, "I can't stay silent anymore. They're trying to make it look like he's innocent, but y'all don't know what really happened in Puerto Rico." Fans went wild, flooding the comments with theories, accusations, and heartbreak. Some were calling Jasmine brave, others called her a liar. But everyone agreed on one thing: the Frost family was officially in flames. Inside the interrogation room, Kirk sat motionless, the fluorescent lights cutting across his tired face. The officer in charge, Detective Ramirez, leaned forward, slapping a folder onto the table. "Mr. Frost," he said slowly, "we have surveillance footage. Care to explain why you were seen leaving the villa just minutes before the money went missing?" Kirk looked up, his jaw tightening. "I didn't take no money," he said. "That's business cash. I was making payments for the shoot. Somebody's setting me up." The detective raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. "Then why did Jasmine Washington show us these messages?" He flipped the folder open to reveal screenshots, text after text of Kirk begging Jasmine not to call Rashida, promising he'd fix it all before she finds out. Kirk's stomach turned. "Those are old messages," he muttered. "That ain't about this." But even he could tell how bad it looked. Back at the hotel, Rashida sat alone, scrolling through her phone, watching Jasmine's live video again and again. Jasmine was crying harder now, saying, "I didn't want to do this, but y'all think I'm crazy. Kirk told me to meet him at the villa that night. He said he had to handle some business. Next thing I know, the place is crawling with police, and now they're saying I was part of it. I'm done taking the blame." The comments exploded with fire emojis, disbelief, and heartbreak. "This is crazy," one fan wrote. "Why would Kirk drag her into this mess?" Another said, "Rashida deserves better, always has." Meanwhile, Carly Red had just arrived in Puerto Rico, ready to film her own reactions for her vlog. She was on the beach, phone in hand, saying, "Listen y'all. When I heard Kirk got arrested, I said no, this can't be real. I had to see it for myself. Puerto Rico is wild right now. Fans everywhere, paparazzi everywhere. And Jasmine, she's out here spilling tea like a waterfall." Her voice dropped lower, full of dramatic flair. "If half of what she's saying is true, Kirk might be looking at more than just embarrassment. This could be serious." The next day, the internet broke again when TMZ dropped exclusive footage of Kirk and Jasmine arguing outside a black SUV just hours before the arrest. Jasmine was screaming, "I told you this would happen." Kirk yelled back, "Stop recording me. You're gonna make this worse." The video cut off as Kirk pushed the phone away. Within minutes, it was trending. Hashtags like hashtag Kirk Frost arrested, hashtag justice for RASHEEDA, and hashtag Jasmine Speaks were flooding time. Back in Atlanta, Mimi Faust and Erica Mena went live together, sipping wine and shaking their heads. "I knew something was off when they booked that trip," Mimi said. "Kirk always got some business excuse every time drama's about to pop off." Erica added, "Baby, this time it's different. You don't get arrested in another country unless it's serious." Both women laughed bitterly, but there was tension behind it. "Poor Rashida," Mimi whispered. "She's been through this too many times." By the evening, Rashida finally broke her silence. She posted on Instagram, "I'm not ready to speak, but please respect my family's privacy." Within minutes, fans flooded her comments with hearts and prayers. But behind the scenes, she was unraveling. Kirk's lawyer had called her, asking if she knew anything about Jasmine's claims. She didn't, or at least, she thought she didn't until she found a message on Kirk's iPad from Jasmine that read, "We can't keep doing this. Kirk, you promised this trip would be the last secret." Her heart dropped. Meanwhile, Jasmine's best friend Tasha went on live, revealing what she called the real reason Kirk's in trouble. She said, "This ain't about no money. This is about revenge." Jasmine found out Kirk was trying to get another girl pregnant. She confronted him. Things got messy, and now everyone's acting brand new. Comments poured in. "Girl, this story is insane." One said, "He really thought Puerto Rico would hide his drama." Another wrote, "Kirk needs to retire from relationships altogether." As the storm grew, VH1 producers scrambled to re-edit footage for the upcoming season. One anonymous source told a gossip blog, "We weren't even filming that day. But after this, cameras are back up. This could be the biggest season yet." Insiders claimed that producers were trying to fly Rashida back early for an emergency confessional. The network smelled ratings gold, but Rashida only smelled betrayal. That night, Jasmine went live again, this time holding what she claimed was proof. She said, "This right here is the hotel receipt in Kirk's name, the night everything went down. Don't let him fool y'all." The chat exploded. People froze the video, zoomed in, compared signatures. And while the internet played detective, Kirk sat in a Puerto Rican holding cell, staring at the ceiling, replaying every decision that had led him there. He muttered under his breath, "They always want a villain, might as well give them one." The next morning, footage leaked of Rashida at the airport, looking exhausted but composed. Reporters swarmed her. "Rashida, is it true Kirk stole from production? Are you standing by him?" She kept walking, sunglasses hiding her tears, only saying, "I just want my husband home." Fans were divided, some praising her loyalty, others calling her blind. How much can one woman take? One commenter wrote, "She deserves peace." As the investigation deepened, more cracks began to show. Jasmine claimed she was being threatened to stay quiet, posting, "If anything happens to me, y'all know who did it." Her words sent shockwaves. Kirk's camp quickly denied it, but fans weren't convinced. Tasha posted screenshots of a mysterious number texting Jasmine, "You better stop talking before you regret it." The messages looked real enough to ignite another media frenzy. And just when everyone thought things couldn't get worse, the Puerto Rican authorities announced that another person had been detained for questioning a man connected to Kirk's music label. Fans speculated wildly. Was Kirk part of something bigger? Did Jasmine know too much? Or was it all a setup by someone jealous of their fame? Bloggers called it the Frost conspiracy. Even mainstream outlets started covering it. CNN Entertainment ran a headline, "Reality TV star Kirk Frost embroiled in Puerto Rico scandal, fraud or frame-up." In the middle of it all, Rashida finally confronted Jasmine privately. No cameras, no witnesses. Jasmine walked in nervously, clutching her phone. Rashida's voice was calm but sharp. "Why are you doing this, Jasmine? If you had something to say, you could have come to me." Jasmine's lip quivered. "I tried," she said, "but you were too busy defending him. I didn't want to ruin your marriage." "But Kirk's not who you think he is." Rashida shook her head, tears forming. "And what are you, the victim? You knew what you were doing." Jasmine snapped. "Yeah, I did, but I didn't know I'd end up taking the fall." Their voices rose, old wounds ripping open, both women crying and shouting over each other. By the end, Jasmine stormed out, whispering, "You'll see the truth soon enough." Hours later, Kirk's lawyer held a press conference outside the courthouse. "Mr. Frost maintains his innocence. We are cooperating fully with authorities and expect him to be cleared of all charges." But as the lawyer spoke, fans noticed Jasmine standing across the street, watching, her expression unreadable. The camera zoomed in. Someone tweeted, "Why she look like she knows something." Within minutes, her face was everywhere again. As night fell over Puerto Rico, the Frost family's drama had officially become global news. Kirk sat quietly in his cell, the noise of the world fading outside the walls. His phone buzzed on the evidence table, one last message unread from Rashida. "Whatever happens, we'll get through it. But if you're lying, I'll never forgive you." He closed his eyes, unsure which part hurt more, the accusation or the truth it might hold. The next morning, the sun over San Juan seemed too bright, too merciless. As Kirk Frost finally walked out of the Puerto Rican jail after posting bail, cameras flashed like lightning. Fans screamed his name. And somewhere in the chaos, Jasmine was standing with her phone lifted, recording every second. "He's free," she whispered on her live, voice shaking. "But don't think that means he's innocent." Reporters swarmed Kirk, asking about the alleged theft, the fight, and Jasmine's accusations. Kirk said nothing, jaw locked tight, eyes hidden behind dark glasses. Rashida arrived minutes later in a beige tracksuit, no makeup, her expression blank and tired. She didn't look at Jasmine, didn't even glance at the cameras. She walked straight to Kirk, whispered something too soft for the mics to catch, and guided him into a waiting SUV. The car doors slammed and the frenzy only grew worse. Back at the hotel, VH1 crews had gathered in secret, hoping to capture a reunion scene, but Kirk refused to be filmed. "No cameras, no statements," he said. "Not until I talk to Rashida alone." That meeting didn't go the way anyone expected. Rashida stood at the balcony, overlooking the ocean, wind in her hair, her voice trembling with exhaustion. "Every time I start to believe you've changed," she said, "something like this happens again." Kirk sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Baby, I didn't steal nothing. Somebody's trying to ruin me." "Then, why is Jasmine saying she's got proof?" Rashida demanded. "Why are there screenshots, receipts, videos? Why is everyone but you talking?" Kirk turned toward her, eyes burning with frustration. "Because I'm not playing their game. They want me to fight in public so I look guilty. I'm not giving them that." Rashida stared at him for a long time, her silence heavier than anger. "The problem, Kirk," she said finally, "is you always look guilty." While they argued, Jasmine was back online, shaking as she spoke to thousands of viewers. "They're trying to silence me," she said, holding up a manila envelope. "This right here. This is everything: the bank transfers, the hotel receipts, the messages. Kirk used my name to book those rooms. He made it look like I was the one who handled the money. Now I'm the one being questioned." Her phone began buzzing nonstop as donations poured in, fans telling her to stay strong, to expose him. Some called her a liar, but others believed every word. Gossip channels lit up again, dissecting each frame of her video. One host said, "Jasmine ain't lying this time. You can see it in her face." Another argued, she's been caught lying before, but this feels different. This feels like revenge. By nightfall, Jasmine had gone viral. Meanwhile, Carly Red was still in Puerto Rico filming her own commentary, pacing outside the same courthouse. Listen y'all, she said, clutching her mic, I just saw Kirk come out. He looked nervous, real nervous. Something big is going down. And Rashida, that woman looks like she's done pretending. This trip is turning into a full-blown disaster. She turned to the camera dramatically. Puerto Rico was supposed to be about peace, about filming a love retreat for the show. Now it's about lies, betrayal, and money gone missing. This is reality TV history in the making. Inside their suite, Rashida sat in silence while Kirk scrolled through his phone. Every headline screamed his name. Kirk Frost under investigation. Jasmine drops receipts. Rashida breaks silence. He tossed the phone aside and muttered, they don't care about the truth. They just want a story. Rashida looked up sharply. Then give them one, she said. If Jasmine's lying, prove it. Show the world. Don't hide. Kirk hesitated. And if I can't? She stood up slowly. Then you already did it. That night, a new twist hit social media. TMZ leaked a video of Kirk and Jasmine having dinner at a quiet Puerto Rican restaurant just 2 days before the arrest. The footage showed Jasmine smiling, Kirk laughing, and then passing her a small envelope. The caption read, exclusive, Kirk Frost seen, handing Jasmine Washington cash before alleged theft. The internet exploded. Fans screamed that it was proof of guilt, others said it was just dinner. Jasmine's live viewers doubled instantly, and she took full advantage. Yeah, we had dinner, she said. He told me it was just business. He said he wanted to make peace, but what he really wanted was to shut me up. She wiped her eyes, sniffling. He said if I stayed quiet, he'd make sure I never had to work again. But I'm done being quiet. Back in the suite, Rashida watched the clip silently while Kirk paced the room. She's twisting everything, he said. That envelope was a refund for studio time. She's acting like it's hush money. Rashida's eyes narrowed. Then why was it dinner? Why wasn't it a wire transfer? Why didn't you tell me? Kirk rubbed his face, defeated. Because I knew how it'd look. Rashida threw her hands up. It looks worse now. Tears welled in her eyes. Kirk, I'm tired. I'm tired of defending you when you don't defend me from humiliation. He stepped closer, voice low. You think I wanted this? You think I planned to get arrested in another country? I don't know what to think anymore, she whispered, turning away. Outside, a storm was brewing literally and figuratively. Heavy rain pounded the island as the Frost drama turned darker. Jasmine disappeared from social media for 12 hours, posting nothing, fueling rumors that she had been silenced. Some fans claimed she'd been flown out by the network to negotiate, others said she'd been threatened. A gossip blogger named Queen Tasha posted, my source says Jasmine's phone's been confiscated by the feds. This ain't reality TV anymore. This is real. That post alone got 1 million views in an hour. VH1 issued a statement denying involvement, but the damage was done. The world believed something big was being covered up. Then, in a twist no one expected, Jasmine returned on live, looking terrified. I can't talk long, she whispered, but y'all need to know, this isn't just about me or Kirk. There's someone else involved. Someone from Atlanta. They told me not to say their name, but, she froze, glancing off screen, then abruptly ended the live. Her followers went insane, speculating that she was talking about another cast member. Some said Scrappy. Others said Stevie J. The hashtag who is involved trended for 12 hours straight. By morning, Kirk and Rashida were called back to the police station for another round of questioning. This time, the detective had new evidence, a flight record showing Jasmine wasn't even supposed to be in Puerto Rico that weekend. Someone paid for her ticket, Detective Ramirez said, and that someone used a prepaid card connected to your label. Kirk's stomach dropped. I didn't book that, he said, voice cracking. Somebody's framing me. Rashida's eyes widened. But who would do that? The detective leaned back. That's what we're going to find out. Until then, you're still under investigation. Outside the station, fans had gathered, chanting, Free Kirk, while others shouted, Justice for Jasmine. The air was electric. Carly Red went live again, barely containing her excitement. Baby, this is getting bigger by the minute, she said. Rumors say another arrest might be coming. I heard producers are flying out right now. This trip is officially cursed. As night fell, Rashida finally confronted Kirk with the question she had been avoiding. Did you love her? She asked quietly. Kirk froze. What? Jasmine, she said, voice trembling. Did you love her? He looked away, his silence louder than any confession. You don't have to answer, she whispered, tears sliding down her cheeks. Your face already did. She walked toward the door, but Kirk grabbed her wrist. Don't walk away, he pleaded. Please. She pulled free, whispering, You already lost me. As she left, lightning split the sky. Kirk sat alone in the dark suite, staring at his reflection in the glass, wondering how it had all come to this. Then his phone buzzed again, a message from an unknown number. It read, Check your email. Time to tell the truth before I do. His hands trembled as he opened the inbox. Attached was a video, grainy but clear. It showed someone sneaking into the villa's office the night of the theft, grabbing a briefcase, and slipping out the back door. The figure turned toward the camera just long enough for Kirk to see the face. It wasn't Jasmine. It wasn't him. It was one of his own label partners, a man named Rico who had been handling payments for years. Kirk exhaled in disbelief. It was you, he muttered. You set me up. But the realization came too late. By morning, Rico had vanished from Puerto Rico, deleting all his accounts and leaving Kirk to face the storm alone. The internet was already spinning new theories, but for the first time, Kirk had proof that he wasn't the villain everyone thought he was, and Lee. No one would believe him unless he fought to prove it. The morning after Rico's sudden disappearance, the air around the Frost story shifted again as whispers of a bigger cover-up began to spread, and Puerto Rico itself felt like a stage where every phone was a camera and every shadow hid a secret. Kirk woke up to the sound of Rashida packing her suitcase. Her movements quiet but deliberate, her silence heavier than any argument. Where are you going? He asked, voice hoarse from another sleepless night. Back home, she said flatly. You can deal with this mess yourself. He jumped up, trying to block the door. You can't just leave now, not when I finally got proof. She stopped mid-zip, her eyes narrowing. Proof of what, Kirk? Proof that you're innocent, or proof that you're always the victim? He handed her his phone, showing her the grainy video of Rico sneaking into the villa. Rashida stared at it for a long moment, then looked back up at him. This could be anyone, she said. And even if it's him, why were you meeting Jasmine the same night? Why were you in the middle of it? Kirk's frustration boiled over. Because I was trying to keep my business from falling apart. Rico was supposed to handle the payments, but he double-booked deals under Jasmine's name. When I found out, I went to fix it before it blew up. Now he's gone, and everybody thinks I'm a criminal. Rashida shook her head, tears forming. You always have an explanation, Kirk. Always a reason, but it's never accountability. Before he could respond, her phone buzzed. It was Carly Red, calling from downstairs. Girl, you better come down here. Carly's voice crackled through the speaker. There's police outside Agandon. They're not here for Kirk this time. Rashida's eyes widened as she and Kirk rushed to the balcony. Below, they could see officers surrounding a black SUV, pulling out suitcases, and in one of them stacks of cash wrapped in rubber bands. Within minutes, the news broke online. Rico had been caught at the airport trying to flee with over $100,000 in unreported funds. TMZ posted the footage under the headline, Kirk Frost cleared as business partner arrested in money scandal. Fans who had been calling for Kirk's downfall suddenly switched sides. So he was innocent the whole time. One tweet read, Y'all owe that man an apology. Another said, Rashida better take him back now. But the damage had already been done. Kirk and Rashida stood in silence, watching the chaos unfold below. He whispered, You see, I told you. But Rashida's face didn't soften. You were right, she said quietly, but it doesn't change what you put me through to get here. She walked back inside, closing the door behind her. As reporters swarmed the police station, Jasmine reappeared online, this time looking furious. So now they're saying Rico did it, she said in disbelief. I'm not buying that. Rico worked for Kirk. He wouldn't do anything without his say-so. Y'all really think Kirk didn't know? Her comments filled with mixed reactions, some calling her bitter, others urging her to move on. Girl, let it go, one wrote. He's cleared now. Jasmine slammed her phone on the table and muttered, Not until I get an apology. But her anger didn't stop there. A few hours later, she posted screenshots of messages supposedly between her and Rico, suggesting they had been warned to keep quiet or risk being cut off from the label. The internet went wild again, wondering if the arrest was part of a deal. Gossip sites titled it, Jasmine exposes the real scandal behind Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, VH1 producers decided the timing couldn't be better. They announced that cameras would start rolling immediately for an emergency reunion episode titled The Frost Fall. Kirk agreed, but Rashida hesitated. You really want to put this on TV right now? She asked. People already think our lives are scripted. Kirk sighed. Might as well get paid for the pain. When filming began, The tension was so thick it felt scripted even when it wasn't. Kirk sat across from Jasmine under bright studio lights. Arms crossed, expression unreadable. Rashida sat beside him, distant, her hands clasped tightly. Jasmine started first. "You humiliated me," she said, voice shaking. "You let everyone think I was some gold digger trying to ruin you, when the truth is, you used me." Kirk's jaw tightened. "Used you? Jasmine, you were part of my life because you wanted to be. You made choices too." Jasmine's eyes flashed. "Yeah, choices that ruined me while you kept your wife, your business, your reputation. I lost everything." Rashida spoke softly, her tone cold. "You didn't lose everything, Jasmine. You took my peace and paraded it online. You made a circus out of my pain." Jasmine looked at her, tears forming. "You think I wanted that? I just wanted the truth out." Rashida's voice cracked. The truth or attention? Silence followed. Even the producers didn't know whether to cut or keep filming. The reunion episode became one of the most explosive moments in the show's history. Halfway through, Jasmine suddenly pulled out her phone and played an audio recording. Kirk's voice came through, saying, "Keep this between us, okay? Nobody can know what really went down that night." Gasps echoed through the set. Kirk jumped to his feet, shouting, "That was edited. You know damn well that's not the full recording." Jasmine shot back, "Then play the full one, Kirk." The host tried to calm them down, but the argument spiraled. Rashida stood up and walked off stage, muttering, "I'm done." The clip went viral before the episode even aired, with fans split between defending Kirk and siding with Jasmine. "It's the edit for me," one tweet read. "They both messy," said another. Behind the scenes, Kirk's lawyer worked to suppress the audio, claiming it was illegally recorded. But the damage to Kirk's image lingered. Every news outlet ran the headline, "Audio leak reignites Kirk Frost controversy." Even though Rico had confessed to the money theft, people now questioned whether Kirk had known more than he claimed. Rashida tried to stay quiet, focusing on her business, but paparazzi followed her everywhere. At one point, she was filmed crying in her car after a fan shouted, "Leave him already." The clip spread online with captions like "Rashida breaks down amid Kirk drama." 2 weeks later, Kirk decided to hold a press conference of his own. Standing before reporters, he said, "I made mistakes, but I didn't take commit no creamy. I was loyal to people who weren't loyal to me. And as for Jasmine, I wish her peace. I ain't got no hate in my heart." His voice cracked slightly on the last line. Rashida stood nearby but didn't speak. After the conference, Jasmine posted one final message on her story. "Sometimes clearing your name doesn't clear your soul." She deleted all her posts after that, vanishing from social media entirely. Rumors said she moved out of Atlanta. Others claimed she got a deal to write a tell-all book titled The Other Woman Speaks. Whatever the truth, she was gone. Meanwhile, the Frost family returned to Atlanta. Kirk spent weeks trying to rebuild trust, showing Rashida receipts, messages, anything to prove he was being honest. One night, as they sat on the porch, he said, "You believe me now?" She didn't answer right away. "I believe you didn't steal that money," she said finally. "But believing you didn't betray me, that's harder." He nodded, accepting it. "Then I'll spend the rest of my life proving I didn't." She looked at him with tired eyes. "You said that before." The wind blew softly between them, carrying years of unspoken pain. But the story didn't end there. 3 months later, during a VH1 anniversary special, the producers aired unseen footage from the Puerto Rico trip, footage showing Rico whispering to someone off camera about making Kirk look bad. The revelation vindicated Kirk publicly. Fans flooded Rashida's page with messages of support, writing, "You two deserve a fresh start." Kirk posted a simple caption under a photo of the sunrise. "Truth always wins." Even Jasmine, who had disappeared, liked the post quietly from a hidden account. In the end, Kirk and Rashida agreed to renew their vows in a small, private ceremony, away from cameras. No audience, no network, just them and the sound of the waves. As they exchanged vows, Rashida whispered, "Don't ever make me choose between believing you and believing in myself again." Kirk nodded, tears in his eyes. Never again. The cameras may have stopped rolling, but the legend of the Puerto Rico scandal lived on. Fans still debated it in comment sections. Blogs still dug for hidden truths. And some swore that Jasmine's story wasn't over yet. Because in the world of reality TV, no secret ever stays buried, and no ending is ever final. The calm that followed Kirk and Rashida's private vow renewal was only surface deep. Because as soon as they returned to Atlanta, new rumors began swirling that threatened to shatter the fragile peace they had painstakingly built. social media accounts that had been dormant suddenly sprang to life with leaked photos, showing Kirk in the company of a mysterious woman at a charity gala, smiles wide, hands brushing ever so slightly, and within hours fans had already constructed elaborate theories about infidelity, secret business deals, and hidden betrayals, some claiming that this woman was none other than Rico's sister trying to blackmail Kirk for revenge, while others insisted it was purely professional. Yet the narrative had taken on a life of its own, trending across multiple platforms, each post more sensational than the last. Hashtags like hashtag Kirk cheating, hashtag Frost scandal, hashtag RASHEEDA deserves better, and hashtag who is the mystery woman filled feeds. And even celebrity gossip sites jumped in, posting speculative headlines, calling it a relationship crisis waiting to explode and Kirk Frost under fire again. Meanwhile, Kirk and Rashida had to navigate the storm with careful statements and staged appearances, walking a tightrope between defending their personal lives and maintaining the public image necessary for their careers. Yet every interview seemed to fuel the speculation further, as Kirk's nervous smiles and Rashida's tight-lipped nods were interpreted as guilt or secret scheming, leading to a flurry of memes, reaction videos, and fan accounts dedicated to dissecting every nuance of their body language. And amid this chaos, Jasmine's name resurfaced as fans dug through old content, piecing together her social media hiatus with her alleged book deal, claiming that she might be orchestrating a comeback to cash in on the renewed drama, fueling further tension, while Kirk's label partners and management teams scrambled behind the scenes to control the narrative, scheduling exclusive interviews, private meetings with tabloids, and even sending out carefully curated leaks to friendly outlets to maintain public sympathy for Kirk and reassure sponsors. But the strategy had mixed results because the public appetite for scandal had only grown, and as each day passed, more footage from Puerto Rico emerged, hidden clips showing Rico speaking to yet another associate, mysterious late-night meetings, and ambiguous gestures that could be interpreted as threats, all of which reignited the firestorm around Kirk, making him once again a polarizing figure whose every action was under scrutiny. Rashida, exhausted from the constant public eye, found herself withdrawing into a small circle of trusted friends, relying on her sister, her business manager, and a few close confidants to navigate the relentless questions from paparazzi and fans. Yet the strain on their marriage was evident. Kirk would often come home late from meetings, pacing the living room, his mind racing through damage control strategies, while Rashida's patience wore thin, leading to whispered arguments late at night that no one heard but each other, discussions about trust, loyalty, and the weight of public perception, their conversations often circling back to Puerto Rico, to Jasmine, and the countless hours of speculation that had become their lives. All the while, online personalities and bloggers kept the frenzy alive, creating content dissecting every detail of Kirk and Rashida's interactions, feeding off even the slightest tension, fans analyzing comments, likes, and pauses in social media posts, claiming that any delay in response was evidence of collusion or guilt. And amidst this relentless scrutiny, Kirk decided to take proactive steps, reaching out to Jasmine through private channels, offering a truce and requesting a meeting to clarify past events, attempting to negotiate a mutual understanding that could perhaps prevent further public fallout. But Jasmine, wary of manipulation and eager to retain her power in the narrative, insisted on going public with any conversation, demanding that cameras record every word, which introduced a new layer of tension and mistrust, leading to a dramatic setup where Kirk and Jasmine were filmed in a neutral location, a rented penthouse in downtown Atlanta, both sides trying to control the optics. Each word weighed heavily, as Kirk maintained his innocence, while Jasmine pressed for acknowledgement of past actions that had caused her public embarrassment. The dialogue was intense and highly charged, emotions running high, fans live-streamed reactions, theories exploded across forums, the conversation escalating into accusations, tears, denials, and confessions, with every pause dissected for hidden meaning. And as the session concluded, neither party seemed satisfied, but both knew the footage would become a crucial piece of content for future episodes, for public perception, and for the ongoing social media war that had become the backdrop of their lives. Meanwhile, Rashida, observing the interaction from a separate camera feed, wrestled with conflicting feelings: relief that some truths were finally being addressed, fear that more would be revealed than she was ready to handle, and frustration at the media circus that turned private pain into public spectacle. As the penthouse emptied, Kirk and Rashida faced each other late at night, exhaustion evident in their postures, and she asked softly, "How do we move forward when the world won't let us?" Kirk, rubbing his temples, replied, "We do it together. We control what we can, ignore what we can't." Yet even as he spoke, the notification sound on his phone erupted again, a leaked video showing a shadowy figure, allegedly Rico's accomplice, making mysterious hand gestures, further fueling speculation that more people had been involved in the Puerto Rico incident, sending the narrative spiraling once more. Social media erupted with commentary, fan theories, and intense debates, some defending Kirk, others accusing him of complicity, while gossip outlets claimed a larger conspiracy, and the cycle repeated itself daily, leaving Kirk and Rashida navigating a labyrinth of public scrutiny, private tension, and the ghost of past scandals that refused to remain buried. Their personal life now inseparable from the viral spectacle. Every meal, every outing, every social media post examined and interpreted, creating a relentless pressure that tested their marriage in ways they had never anticipated. As they attempted to rebuild normalcy, trips to quiet locations were followed by leaks, private dinners were dissected on Instagram, and even mundane conversations were posted out of context, sparking online debates that drew in thousands of viewers, leading to trending reaction videos, and endless speculation. And yet, amidst the chaos, Kirk attempted to regain his focus on business, meeting with investors, planning music releases, and negotiating brand partnerships, while Rashida expanded her ventures, working on new fashion lines, charitable initiatives, and personal wellness projects, striving to reclaim autonomy over her life and image. Even as the lingering shadow of Puerto Rico and the ongoing narrative with Jasmine haunted every decision, both of them realizing that in the world of reality television and viral media, perception was reality, truth was malleable, and the smallest detail could ignite a firestorm. And as months passed, they learned to navigate the treacherous waters with cautious optimism, careful planning, and strategic transparency, sometimes retreating from the public eye entirely, other times engaging directly to correct misinformation, all while keeping their private life guarded, even from those they trusted most. The lessons of Puerto Rico: the betrayal, the arrest, the leaks, the social media frenzy had left indelible marks on their relationship, and every step forward was shadowed by the knowledge that the next headline, the next leak, the next dramatic reveal could undo months of rebuilding. Yet, through it all, Kirk and Rashida clung to each other, learning that survival in their world required vigilance, patience, and an unyielding commitment to protect both their love and their legacy, knowing that in the relentless spotlight of fame, scandal was never far away, and peace was always temporary, a fragile state to be guarded fiercely against the inevitable storms of gossip, betrayal, and public scrutiny that defined the modern reality television landscape. And as they prepared for the next chapter, interviews, appearances, and potential reconciliations with past adversaries, they understood that every move was a performance, every word a potential headline, and every glance a point of contention. Yet despite the chaos, the exhaustion, and the constant tension, they remained united in their determination to emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient, holding on to the fragile thread of trust they had painstakingly rebuilt, aware that the story of Kirk Frost, Rashida, Jasmine, and Rico would continue to captivate audiences, dominate feeds, and fuel debate, long after the cameras stopped rolling. Because in the world they inhabited, drama was eternal, loyalty was tested daily, and the quest for truth, redemption, and stability was never. The days and weeks following the penthouse confrontation marked a new chapter in Kirk and Rashida's lives, one filled with cautious optimism but overshadowed by the lingering specter of scandal. As the public, obsessed with every twist of their story, continued to scrutinize their every move, while gossip outlets, bloggers, and social media influencers worked tirelessly to dig up fresh angles, often conflating fact with speculation. And Kirk, weary from the relentless pressure, found himself navigating a complex landscape of interviews, brand obligations, and fan expectations, all while trying to protect the integrity of his marriage. Rashida, equally burdened, dedicated herself to rebuilding her own brand, launching charitable initiatives, and reclaiming her narrative as an empowered woman who had endured betrayal, humiliation, and public spectacle with poise. Yet despite their efforts, new challenges kept emerging. A leaked document suggested that Rico had not acted alone, hinting at a network of former associates who had motives to undermine Kirk. And though he had initially been cleared of wrongdoing, the mere suggestion of complicity ignited renewed debate online, leading to a flood of commentary, memes, and fan theories, many suggesting that Kirk's eventual exoneration had been staged, that behind-the-scenes deals were orchestrated to protect him while isolating Jasmine, fueling further animosity and speculation. And as the couple attempted to maintain a semblance of normalcy, they were forced to contend with paparazzi ambushes, cryptic messages on social media, and unsolicited advice from self-proclaimed reality TV experts, all of which chipped away at their sense of stability, creating tension in even the simplest of interactions. Every phone call, every email, every meeting potentially laced with ulterior motives. Yet amidst this chaos, they endeavored to focus on each other, sharing quiet moments in private, planning small getaways, and confiding in a tight circle of friends and advisors, all while the narrative continued to evolve, because social media never slept, and fans, fueled by curiosity, outrage, and loyalty, dissected every micro-expression, every public appearance, and every ambiguous post for hidden meaning, leading to trending hashtags that oscillated between support and condemnation. And as they prepared for an appearance on a late-night talk show, intended to address lingering questions and present their side of the story directly to the public, they found themselves rehearsing lines, coordinating outfits, and strategizing responses to potential accusations, knowing that one misstep could be amplified across thousands of platforms, creating waves of misinformation and renewed drama. And when the night of the interview arrived, the tension was palpable. Kirk, seated beside Rashida, maintained a composed exterior, though internally his nerves were frayed, while Rashida, poised and articulate, projected confidence, though her mind raced with contingencies, prepared to counter any narrative that might paint them in a negative light. The host, sensing the undercurrent of emotion, opened with pointed questions about Puerto Rico, the alleged theft, and the complicated relationship between Kirk, Rashida, and Jasmine. And as Kirk responded, carefully threading the line between transparency and caution, Rashida added clarifying points, correcting misconceptions, and asserting their unity, while the cameras captured every subtle glance, every hesitation, and every affirmation, creating a layered portrait of a couple navigating both personal recovery and public scrutiny. Yet, even as the interview concluded successfully, the aftershock was immediate. Clips were uploaded, GIFs circulated, commentary exploded across forums, and while many praised their candor, others found fault, picking apart minute details to support preconceived narratives, leading to a relentless cycle of approval and criticism that mirrored the earlier Puerto Rico storm. And as they left the studio, the couple was met by a swarm of reporters, fans, and street-level paparazzi, demanding reactions, autographs, and statements, while Kirk and Rashida, arm in arm, smiled and waved, projecting an image of strength and unity. But inside, they both recognized that the battle for narrative control was ongoing, that each new day brought potential revelations, leaks, or and that their lives would forever be entwined with the public eye, every action dissected, every word analyzed. Yet amidst the chaos, they also discovered resilience, learning to communicate more openly, rely on each other more deeply, and strategically manage interactions to protect their mental health and their marriage. The lessons from Puerto Rico now serving as a guidepost: trust selectively, act deliberately, and never assume the story is over, because in the world of fame, reality television, and viral media, drama is perpetual, secrets resurface, and past actions are never truly buried. And as they navigated the following months, a pattern emerged. Kirk focused on music and business ventures, carefully curating public appearances to reinforce a narrative of integrity and accountability, while Rashida expanded her fashion brand and philanthropic projects, using interviews and social media selectively to reinforce her independence and voice, all the while monitoring the landscape for emerging threats or misrepresentations, including potential reappearances from Jasmine, lingering legal questions, or unexpected media spins. And as they did so, the bond between them strengthened, forged through adversity, public scrutiny, and the need to continuously negotiate the intersection between private life and public perception. Yet the cycle of exposure, commentary, and viral reaction persisted. New gossip stories about Kirk resurfacing weekly, speculative theories about Jasmine's intentions, rumors about Rico's remaining allies, and constant debate over the authenticity of every social media post, which forced the couple to adopt a disciplined approach to media engagement, limiting direct access, curating messaging, and employing PR strategies to preempt misinterpretation, while simultaneously nurturing a private life that allowed them to reconnect as partners, lovers, and collaborators, planning trips, quiet dinners, and occasional off-the-grid moments to remind themselves of the life beyond the spotlight. And yet, no matter how carefully they managed appearances, the audience remained insatiable, dissecting every interaction, analyzing every photo, and spinning new stories, reinforcing that in the realm of modern reality television and viral fame, the boundary between performance and authenticity is porous. Trust is a commodity, and love, though resilient, must be continually defended against both internal doubts and external pressures. And as Kirk and Rashida adapted, they cultivated a rhythm, a strategy to survive and thrive amidst endless speculation, learning to celebrate small victories, navigate public relations, minefields, and, most importantly, preserve their marriage, recognizing that the true battle was not with Jasmine, Rico, or the media, but with the constant, relentless gaze of an audience that demanded spectacle, accountability, and drama in perpetuity. And with each passing day, as they carefully managed interviews, appearances, and private disclosures, they became adept at turning potential crises into opportunities for narrative control, transforming moments of vulnerability into evidence of strength, and demonstrating that even in a world dominated by gossip, scandal, and misinterpretation, it is possible, though challenging, to reclaim one's story, protect loved ones, and find moments of genuine connection and peace, knowing always that the next headline, the next leaked clip, the next viral speculation could arrive at any time, forcing them to react, adapt, and reaffirm their commitment to each other amidst a media environment that thrives on uncertainty, controversy, and endless curiosity. And in doing so, Kirk and Rashida not only survived the aftermath of Puerto Rico, Jasmine's accusations, and Rico's betrayal, but began to redefine what it meant to navigate reality fame with intentionality, strategy, and resilience, understanding that while drama might never end, their unity, trust, and deliberate management of truth could shape both their personal lives and the public narrative in ways that ensured they emerged stronger, wiser, and more in control than ever before. The months following Kirk and Rashida's cautious navigation of public perception marked a period of relentless turbulence disguised as calm, as though the world had collectively agreed to keep one eye trained on every move they made. And despite their careful management of social media, meticulously curated appearances, and tightly controlled interviews, new drama seemed to manifest from unexpected corners, beginning with an anonymous tip sent to multiple gossip outlets claiming that Kirk had secretly financed a business venture linked to one of Rico's associates, a revelation that, whether true or fabricated, immediately ignited speculation that he had continued clandestine dealings during the Puerto Rico incident, forcing Kirk to address the allegation publicly, issuing a statement that read measuredly, "All my business decisions are above board, and any insinuation otherwise is false," while Rashida bolstered his claim with her own posts, highlighting transparency and accountability. Yet the public, conditioned by months of scandal and contradictory narratives, found it nearly impossible to accept these statements at face value, and as the rumors spread, even former allies and collaborators began questioning loyalties, sending texts and emails filled with veiled concern, cautious inquiries, and subtle reminders that associations carried reputational risk. And as if that weren't enough, an unverified video surfaced on a popular gossip page, showing Kirk in a shadowy room exchanging what appeared to be envelopes with an unidentified man. The clip grainy, angles deliberately ambiguous, but captions screamed insinuation, leading fans and trolls alike to dissect every frame, comment obsessively, and circulate theories, some claiming it was proof Kirk had been orchestrating behind-the-scenes moves to manipulate outcomes with Rico, others insisting the footage had been edited to create the illusion of impropriety, while Rashida, seeing the renewed public frenzy, felt the weight of constant vigilance pressed down on her chest, recalling sleepless nights during Puerto Rico, arguments replaying in her mind, and the bitter taste of public judgment. Yet she and Kirk remained committed to presenting a united front, agreeing to participate in a high-profile interview with a major entertainment network, this time on a prime-time special aimed at addressing the most persistent allegations, with producers promising a no-editing, full transparency approach, designed to finally settle the narrative. And when the cameras rolled, Kirk spoke first, voice steady but firm. "I have nothing to hide, and I am committed to clarifying every misrepresentation that has circulated." Rashida added, calm yet authoritative, "We understand the public's curiosity, but we ask for patience, context, and fairness as we walk through the events and decisions that brought us here." The host probed with pointed questions, some about financial dealings, some about relationships, and others about the shadow of Jasmine, who by this point had not made a public appearance since her last controversial post. And as Kirk responded, citing dates, documents, and witnesses to support his statements, Rashida filled in gaps with context, emotions, and insights into their private lives, illustrating the human toll of public scrutiny and the complexity of navigating relationships under the glare of relentless observation. Yet even this carefully orchestrated dialogue did not quell the public appetite, as live tweets, comments, and fan forums exploded with alternative interpretations, with some users claiming that every word was rehearsed, every glance calculated, and every phrase selected to manipulate perception, fueling further cycles of rumor, skepticism, and debate. And as the interview concluded, both Kirk and Rashida knew that while they had presented their truths, perception remained largely beyond their control, leaving them to navigate a media landscape where reality, narrative, and performance were so intertwined that distinguishing fact from interpretation became nearly impossible. And during the aftermath, Rashida returned to her fashion and wellness projects with renewed determination, opening pop-up boutiques, launching limited edition collections, and hosting charity events, all while subtly reinforcing her narrative of independence and resilience. And Kirk, equally focused, immersed himself in music production, business expansions, and philanthropic efforts, carefully documenting their achievements and milestones online to balance public perception with tangible evidence of responsibility and integrity. Yet new challenges continued to emerge, including mysterious social media accounts posting doctored images, suggesting clandestine meetings, speculative reports from anonymous sources claiming new business entanglements with former associates of Rico, and persistent commentary about unresolved tensions with Jasmine, who fans theorized might be preparing a dramatic return to capitalize on residual scandal. And each new development required strategic responses, careful calibration of public statements, and meticulous management of digital content to prevent further misinterpretation. While at home, Kirk and Rashida sought moments of intimacy and reprieve, quietly celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, and small personal victories away from cameras, cultivating private rituals of reassurance, communication, and trust, even as they remained acutely aware that any moment of vulnerability, if captured and leaked, could become another viral story, another source of public judgment. And yet, despite the ongoing tension, they learned to find balance, leaning on each other for emotional support, sharing candid reflections about mistakes and lessons learned, and using the tools of social media and public relations strategically to both protect their marriage and gradually reshape the narrative, illustrating a nuanced understanding of modern fame, where transparency, narrative control, and audience engagement intersect in unpredictable and often volatile ways. And as the months unfolded, patterns emerged. Whenever a rumor surfaced, Kirk and Rashida would assess its validity, prepare concise responses, coordinate with legal and PR teams, and present unified statements, demonstrating not only resilience but an increasing mastery of the public sphere, while simultaneously deepening their bond, recognizing that surviving in the spotlight required trust, patience, and unwavering solidarity. And through these experiences, they also developed a keen awareness of the interplay between reality, perception, and storytelling, understanding that even genuine actions could be reframed as drama, that private gestures could be sensationalized, and that the very nature of their fame imposed an ongoing demand for performance, vigilance, and strategy, which in turn cultivated a disciplined approach to both personal and professional life, blending authenticity with prudence, emotion with calculation, and intimacy with discretion. And despite the never-ending cycle of scrutiny, commentary, and speculation, Kirk and Rashida continued to thrive, leveraging their experience to cultivate both career opportunities and a protective framework for their relationship, all while maintaining a conscious effort to preserve private moments of connection and stability, understanding that the world would always be watching, interpreting, and judging. Yet they remained committed to one another, determined to navigate the complexities of fame with intent. And as they looked forward, new projects, collaborations, and potential reconciliations presented opportunities to assert agency over their narrative, demonstrating that even in a life saturated with drama, public intrusion, and relentless speculation, strategic communication, emotional intelligence, and unwavering partnership could provide a path forward, balancing the demands of a captivated audience with the imperatives of personal integrity, love, and resilience. And as they continued to face each day, they understood that the true measure of survival in their world was not the absence of scandal or rumor, but the ability to adapt, endure, and maintain unity in the face of endless scrutiny, a lesson learned from Puerto Rico, the fallout with Jasmine, Rico's betrayal, and the countless cycles of public opinion that followed, forging a relationship both tested and strengthened. and ultimately, Kirk and Rashida found a rhythm that allowed them to reclaim control over their lives, their story, and their future, proving that even amidst the relentless turbulence of fame, loyalty, love, and strategic narrative management could create stability, fortitude, and a lasting legacy, despite the ever-present potential for new storms to arise at any moment. As we reach the end of this whirlwind saga, it's impossible not to pause and reflect on everything Kirk and Rashida have endured: the heartbreak, the public scrutiny, the betrayals, and the relentless cycle of rumors and speculation that seemed never-ending. And yet, through it all, they have survived, adapted, and found a way to reclaim both their personal lives and their public narrative, showing us that resilience is not just about enduring hardship, but about learning to navigate the storm with strategy, empathy, and a deep commitment to the people who matter most. Imagine what it must be like to have every moment of your life dissected online, every glance, every word, every decision judged by millions, yet still find the courage to stand up, speak your truth, and protect the ones you love. Because that is the reality Kirk and Rashida faced. From the shocking events in Puerto Rico to the explosive confrontations with Jasmine, from the public fallout surrounding Rico's betrayal to the endless waves of social media commentary, every day presented new challenges, new potential disasters, and new opportunities to demonstrate their loyalty, strength, and commitment. And as fans watching from afar, it's tempting to focus solely on the drama, the scandal, and the sensational headlines. But beneath all of that, there is a deeper story about human resilience, the complexity of relationships under pressure, and the ways in which love can survive even the most extreme tests of trust and patience. So we ask you, the viewer, to consider what you would do in their shoes. How would you handle the intense pressure of public scrutiny, the sting of betrayal, and the constant threat of your life being turned into entertainment for millions? And as you reflect on that, think about the choices Kirk and Rashida made, the calculated steps to protect each other, the moments of vulnerability they allowed themselves, and the unwavering commitment to one another, even when the world seemed determined to drive a wedge between them. As we've followed their journey, we've seen Kirk face accusations, rumors, and relentless criticism, yet he continued to assert his innocence, navigate complex business challenges, and prioritize his marriage, while Rashida balanced her own pain, public perception, and personal growth, proving that strength is not just about confrontation but about grace under pressure, careful planning, and strategic communication. And this is where you, the viewer, come in. You are part of this ongoing conversation, part of the way stories like this are interpreted, shared, and remembered, because without an audience, drama fades into obscurity. Yet, with engagement, support, and critical thought, the narrative gains meaning and depth, which is why your reactions, comments, and perspectives matter. Whether you side with Kirk, sympathize with Rashida, question Jasmine's motives, or simply marvel at the twists and turns that reality television and viral fame can produce. And as you consider your stance, remember that every social media post, every shared article, every comment you leave contributes to the broader story, shaping perception, influencing discourse, and even impacting the lives of those involved. So your role is active, not passive, in the unfolding drama. And as you engage, think about the lessons beneath the scandal, the importance of trust, communication, and resilience, the dangers of misinformation, the power of narrative control, and the human cost of public exposure. Because while gossip and controversy may entertain, the real story lies in understanding the people at the center, their struggles, their decisions, and the ways they find to survive and thrive amidst chaos. And as we wrap up this detailed account of Kirk Frost's alleged arrest in Puerto Rico, Jasmine's explosive revelations, Rico's betrayal, and the endless waves of public reaction, it's worth asking yourself what you take from Itar. You captivated by the drama, inspired by their resilience, or perhaps motivated to think more critically about the content you consume? Because these stories are more than entertainment. They are reflections of human behavior, social dynamics, and the interplay between perception and reality. And as you leave your thoughts in the comments, we encourage you to engage respectfully, thoughtfully, and with the understanding that behind every headline is a complex reality, and behind every viral clip is a human being navigating challenges that most of us could barely imagine. So as you hit that like button, subscribe for more updates, and share your opinions, consider not just who was right or wrong, but the bigger picture, the strategies, the emotions, the decisions, and the endurance required to survive in a world that thrives on spectacle. And remember that your engagement is part of the ongoing story, shaping both public perception and the cultural conversation around fame, trust, betrayal, and reconciliation, because at the end of the day, Reality television is not just about what happens on camera. It's about how the story is received, interpreted, and carried forward by viewers like you, who have the power to influence discourse, highlight empathy, and demand accountability. And so we invite you now to think critically, comment thoughtfully, and share widely, recognizing that every interaction contributes to the legacy of the narrative. And as Kirk and Rashida continue to navigate the challenges of public life, facing rumors, scrutiny, and the constant gaze of millions, your engagement helps sustain the dialogue, encourages reflection, and ensures that the lessons embedded in their story, resilience, communication, loyalty, and strategic management of personal and public identity, are not lost amidst the noise. And as you do so, take a moment to reflect on your own experiences with trust, public perception, and personal resilience, drawing parallels where they exist and learning from the choices made by those who live under an unrelenting spotlight. Because ultimately, the true value of following stories like this lies not just in entertainment, but in understanding human behavior, cultivating empathy, and appreciating the complexities of relationships tested by extraordinary circumstances. So as we close this chapter, we urge you to participate actively, like, subscribe, comment, and share your insights, because your voice is part of the story, your perspective adds depth, and your engagement ensures that the lessons, the drama, and the resilience of Kirk and Rashida Frost continue to resonate long after the cameras have stopped rolling. And as you do, remember that every action, every word, and every choice has consequences, both online and in the real world, and by contributing thoughtfully, you honor not only the narrative we've explored together but also the broader conversation about fame, trust, accountability, and the enduring strength required to navigate a life lived in the public eye. And so now, it's your turn. Let us know what you think. Share your reactions, reflect on the journey, and continue to engage with the story that captivated millions. Because in doing so, you become part of the legacy, part of the dialogue, and part of the ongoing exploration of human resilience and connection that lies at the heart of Kirk and Rashida's journey. And as you click, comment, and share, remember, your participation matters. Your perspective shapes the conversation, and your voice contributes to the enduring story of trust, love, and perseverance amidst a world that thrives on drama, speculation, and relentless observation.